Okay, so let's go ahead, continue with our creating first scenery tutorial, and I want to add some additional maybe details to this. So right here I have a grass. If we're going to add additional, and notice right here we have it add a child. So we can add additional child to our surface layer that will link directly to our surface. But before we do this, I want to add another surface layer. And you notice it's overlay. Again, this is our bottom and this will be our top. So they will go this direction. You can always change by moving up or down. And you know what, let's go rename. We'll name this grass. Okay, so we're kind of knowing. And let's name this dark rocks. We won't use it any displacement at this moment. I just want to add some different color to our mountains. So on a steep, it will be a little bit more rocky look, less ground kind of brownish look. So to do this, let's go first. What I want to do is be sure it is have right color, and best way to do before we apply it, because you can see this color everywhere with any angle. So it's best kind of preview this way. I'm going just slightly way and go way darker. So here is my color. Let's click OK. Next, now when I select my color preset, I want to add probably some positioning. So for this, I will enable my test color. And with altitude constraint, I don't want it constrain on anything. I want from beginning to all, because rocks will go everywhere. However, if you want to remove from some low altitude, you can limit it minimum. Okay, so let's go now. On a slope, here's will be interesting. I want to remove my minimum. So I want to remove from the flat areas, and I want to put it this little bit more to kind of angling right to this area. Okay, next, we also can apply some additional options. For example, we can add a little bit more fuzziness to this. So it's become kind of nicer blending on some of those brown spots. And you know what, maybe take even the slope and just increase slightly up. Okay, the next options, what we can do, it is work on a breakup. So we can create the higher ones point or lower, and we also can apply it. If we do in advance in some areas, we'll use it a mask to create this randomness. Overall, we can by creating and assign some additional shaders to this, so we can create some of those rocky look. But for now, just let's leave it simple. Again, when we're creating, I do like render my intermediate steps. So as I'm working, I want to look a little bit closer on details, how those materials will apply. Okay, and they look nice. So I have it kind of sand on the flat areas. We could apply distribution by the image map if we have it, but right now I think this is looking nice. I want to add maybe a little bit touch of the yellowish color, but again, it's become complex, and you can see how you can add more and more and more stuff to this. So let's click on this and add surface to our child. Okay, you can notice when I apply child, it will apply to the area where it's cover. So on this case, surface, because it's applied to ours, let me enable color and you can preview very easy. What I want to do, I want to take slope constraint for this, limit it, and make it even more in a flatter area. Okay, just right here, this area. And for this one, I want to actually create kind of brighter, a little bit zone. And let's apply it. So now we start playing with additional shades. Same things, I want to add child to rocks. Okay, on this case, I want to go a little bit, kind of maybe down darker even. Let's click OK. And same things for this one. Actually, we'll do couple things. We limit it on altitude, and again, remember, let's enable preview so I can see my kind of cover. So it will go a little bit up this way. Also on a slope, we'll go to minimum limited. So it will go just apply to side. So again, I'm going over and kind of preview. I think this will cover very nicely. Okay, we can disable. And let's go ahead preview our small adjustments to this. Okay, with additional child, we kind of remove the uniform. So you can see we have color a little bit brighter in small areas, as well a little bit darker in some points. So we remove this uniform, create more interesting natural look. And one more thing, let's do this. Let's go ahead and add snow to this. So we'll create a new surface layer right on top. Okay, we'll go to the enable color, altitude. Let's maximum altitude, actually minimum in this case. Okay, and I want just to bring right maybe a little bit on top right there, slightly. Here as well, I want increase fuzziness for the snow, so it will go down. Almost every time it will just create kind of a line applied. In some cases we want to modify that, but you can modify this by adding child or mask. But what I'm going to do, I also will go to just limit it maybe on a slope. Actually, I want to enable this one just to remove from some areas and pop up fuzziness. Okay. Notice on the some rocks, like this rock, I can go back and let's just make coverage slightly down. But on the snow, okay, right here, I don't want to do this because I want more coverage. So I want the coverage 100% on this. And I want to just take this, break it up, bring a little bit down. Okay, next, let's go ahead and select my color. And color, I want to do just slightly bluish and white. So the reason why I'm creating a little bit bluish in this case, because we will have sun, maybe sunset, so it's give it us yellow, and I want a little bit offset, pop up a little bit higher. The other things also till we hear what I want to do is going inside the luminosity, and we can add at this point a little bit brighter light or whatever. And small tricks with snow, if you pop up just slightly, make it almost like a produced light, it will look much white color, so it's create this faking of the snow effect. But for now I'll just leave it like this. Okay, we'll go click OK, and you know what, let's take the camera, see if I can readjust a little bit preview kind of. Okay, let's preview this way, just positioning, see which one will work better. I think this is nice kind of look. Okay, again, remember, I want copy, and let's render one more time. Okay, so here's my rendering. One thing on the snow and other things, we did not use any erosion placement, so this is more advanced. This is just basic first preview our scenery. Okay, so we kind of done, and next what I want to do is start working on atmosphere and add some other options. We can, if you're interested, you can add water. You can add maybe a layer of the water kind of down below here, create lake. But for now, let's just skip this. And let's go inside the atmosphere. So we'll go open atmosphere tab. And let's add distance. By adding distance, we can work with haze density. So if we increase, you can notice on a preview how much it is now start looking. So if we increase haze by 3, this will give it a nice effect to us. The interesting effect of the blue sky density, so we can pop up, it's give it us kind of yellowish look, which is currently want to go back probably. Okay, reset. Um, let's go check on our control. We'll leave it as default on all of them. Haze glow, we can pop up a little bit more maybe. But problem with the glow, it will affect from the sun. So our power, imagine sun is located on a side. Okay, so right here we actually have a preview. I want to go to preferences and set to the headings. Okay, we'll need restart after, so it will take accept. But our sun is position 1. So if we take sun and place it, the glowing haze glow will go from the sun how much, and glowing amount, it's how it's distributed. So we can increase a little bit more glowing from the point, but because I want to bring sun closer to this area, so it will have an effect. Okay, on this one, let's go to the light, sunlight, and take sun just a little bit down, creating this kind of look, what I call golden hour. And we're positioning, you know what, maybe just around the camera right here. Create a little bit more dramatic kind of look. Okay, we position our sun. Let's go back to atmosphere, and I want to add some clouds. So we go inside, select 3D volumetric mid-level. So I'm going to do this one. Okay, and sometimes with cloud you can preview in a window if applied properly. But right now, let's just, before it's rendered, you can see it's going. I want to make them lighter, less dense. So for this one, we'll go in a cloud depth and maybe just slightly reduce. Okay, actually, right here, depth and density, just reduce. So make them a little bit more lighter. So we go ahead and preview. Okay, so we can see we have nice clouds. The always grain that you see produced is because we're on low render, and a haze will produce this grain. The grain mostly happen when the particle calculating how much times the photon will bounce it from one particle to another. And if you have it too low, it will create this dark light area. So we need to smooth out by increasing quality. But on the preview mode, this is just work fine for now. I maybe want to work a little bit more on the clouds to readjusting, so we can pop up a little bit more on the cover. Okay, let's also pop up on the density and reduce a little bit here, and sharpness of the edge. So I want to just create smooth, nice clouds. We also can modify altitude of the clouds to bring them slightly down. And remember, if you don't know how much, we can just move our around, and right here you can see white. You remember Y is top, so this is about 1.75. So we can go ahead and say, okay, it's about 2 kilometers. So if we type 2000, it will bring these clouds down to about touching our mountains. And of course, if we're going even lower, you can see its cover mountains will go right here, but not yet touch our camera. So if you want to touch clouds, you can do by altitude. Okay, so this is kind of look okay. And right here in my preview for the fractal, you can see how the clouds about distribution, and that does help when you increase depth. Right here you can see its density kind of overall increasing. So I want to bring a little bit down back. Okay, and again, you notice how much properties we have it inside our scenery. We have so much options we can modify and manipulate with this. So it's take a little bit time. Right now I'm going to back lighting and just readjust maybe a little bit less, create a little bit darker areas on the ambient light overall. Okay, now let's go inside the renders. And right here we have our render applied. Let's open properties for this render. Currently it's 800 by 450. We can leave it this or change. Also, we specify which camera it's connected. You can also connect to new render if you want it by readjusting. Next, okay, so we can go and increase details for this render. This is by default, so we'll increase to maybe 7.5. Okay, so we'll just go quite a bit. The better details, better quality, the longer time it's take to render. So also remember we don't enable depth of field for this, so well, okay. Next, you can enable crop the region, so it's want to render some outside. We can do this way. And one options actually I want to do is go back to the atmosphere, clouds. We'll go inside the clouds quality right here, and we have a simplest. So I want to set quality just a little bit better. So right here we have a too much grain, and if it's got a lot of grain, we want to pop up a little bit better quality on our clouds, so we won't have those grainies. Again, this is will increase as well renders, how I say, the time. And if you still have it grain, you can increase ray fuzziness, so it will just take a little bit areas and remove some of those pixelizations away. Okay, so it's in render. I want to just pop up a little bit more quality in. And for this one, if we're going inside the atmosphere clouds, we can still increase inside the quality. We can pop up quality a little bit higher, so it will give it quite a bit smooth and nice clouds. So I think this is good settings. However, if we're going inside the atmosphere quality, right here I want to work on the samples. So number of the samples, if you remember those dots, it's take colors, and I noticed like in this area it was quite a bit grainy, so this will increase time for me to render. But again, as a test and example to showing, I want to do this. I want to take this quality of the samples that produce here and increase so it will become just a little bit nicer. The other things also what you can do to create realistic, if you go in the sunlight, you can increase soft shadows. Soft shadows will take longer, but it will remove some sharpness and creating kind of a nicer, more realistic, smooth going for the large landscapes. Again, for the small ones, sometimes it doesn't work very well, but overall, it is a realistic, beautiful look. Again, all the settings that I'm doing, it is will increase render time. However, with our render that we set not very large image, it should be okay. And again, when I'm rendering, I will pause the tutorial and will resume when render is completed, so we can preview how it's going. So let me do this lock, and I'm just going to pop up a little bit higher resolution. Okay, I just want to go over all settings again, so we have it, trace it. Quality is increased, anti-aliasing look good for the terrain. I think all of those settings set right. So let me go ahead now, enable render. Okay, now let me just in case copy everything right here. Okay, we'll go to render. I'm going to pause this tutorial and I will resume when render is completed. But even right now you can see how many samples it's happened. So it's getting more accurate information. And also when it started this area where it was quite a bit grainy, it will rework in creating very nicer and smooth effect as well. Okay, so right here our render is completed. It took a little bit 1 second, about 5 minutes, so it's actually very impressive for all the settings and quality resolutions, very fast rendering time. You can see our scenery, what we created. I created those kind of smooth clouds, fluffy. Be sure the layer of the clouds kind of touching our mountains. Also with the sampling, we reduce some of the grain noise. Still small have right here, but mostly it will work with materials. As well, on materials, you remember we created different layers. So we have these patches of the brighter grass. As well, on the rocks, we have this dark on a one slope like putting, and kind of ground covering in another ones. And as well, we have snow on a backdrop. So this is first scenery, and hopefully you have a very nice result and fun. And so let's continue discovering more properties of the Terragen 3 in our next tutorials.